Welcome. We're going to take a look here at what are the expectations that go into short responses. What we're going to cover are some background information on what are short answers, what goes into a short answer, how is a short answer best organized, how is it edited, and what does a strong short answer look like. And by the way, the term short answer and short response, I use them interchangeably, so you'll see both. So a short response is a 1 to 3 paragraph answer to a writing prompt. It needs to address and answer that prompt directly. So in terms of expectations, one of the first things you're going to look at is trying to decide what it is that you're supposed to write. So let's say that you're in class, you're given a prompt, and you look over that prompt. If it asks you to write an essay or a story or something else, then that's what you need to do. Your biggest difference here is going to be the difference between an essay and a short answer. Essay is typically a minimum of 5 paragraphs, whereas a short answer, short response, a reflection, an analysis, a response, something along those lines, that's going to be the short response, 1 to 3 paragraphs. In terms of length, when you're taking a standardized test, you want to fill up the lines that you're given. So let's say that you're given 15 lines under the prompt of a short response. You need to fill up those 15 lines pretty well. If you only put 5 or 6 words at the top, that's pretty pathetic. You want to fill that information, that space that you're given there with good information. If you're given a prompt for class, you want to write as much as possible to include a really thorough explanation and defense of your thesis statement. You want that to be up to 3 well-developed paragraphs. All right, so how do you get started? You can start in one of 2 different ways. One way is to start out with 1 to 2 hook or catch sentences, and the second way is to start off with a thesis statement. Once you've got that information down, you definitely want to support that thesis statement. You're going to support your thesis just like you would in an essay situation by putting lots of facts to back it up. Your thesis statement is an opinion. Keep that in mind, and everything that supports it, those are all going to be facts. Things you could use to support the thesis would be supports, details, examples, evidence, quotes, statistics, and expert opinions. All of those things are totally valid. All right, and what is your level of formality? When you're looking at a short response, for the most part, you do not write the way that you speak, unless you happen to speak very formally. So what you want to be looking for is that you're using third-person point of view, contractions are written out, you're organized into well-organized paragraphs, don't have any errors at all, not in spelling, grammar, punctuation, mechanics, that sort of thing. You're using transition words and phrases. Your vocabulary is on high school level, using logical, intelligent, non-emotional tone, right? You're focused in on your topic, not yourself. You've got a well-defended thesis. The sentence has length and style variation, and you're not using I think, I feel, or I believe in high school writing. That's going to give you a nice strong level of formality for a strong tone and style as you would have in your essays. So what kinds of things should you make sure that you're including? Make sure you've got a strong thesis statement. Make sure you've got factual support for the thesis statement. Make sure that you've answered all of the items in a prompt. Sometimes a prompt will give you 3 or 4 different questions that you're supposed to answer. You need to make sure that you've answered all of those questions. Your length needs to be appropriate, so that means 1 to 3 paragraphs. Write as much as you can so that you can get a lot of details and facts in there. And ensure that it's edited and revised. Don't turn it in with mistakes in it. Go ahead and correct those mistakes beforehand. If you use the organized writing process, this can help you quite a bit. Starting off with brainstorming, planning, then do your draft, edit and revise that draft, and come up with your final draft. You only want to submit your best work, so you want to make sure that your answer is as thorough as it can be and is that it has no mistakes in it. All right, so what kinds of things should you be looking for when you're editing? You want to make sure that you read your response before you submit it. Sometimes people will write out their responses and they'll forget to read them, so be sure to do that. Correct all mistakes. Make sure that you're using formal writing expectations. That was that list that we covered earlier, using third-person point of view and so forth. Grade it according to the provided rubric. So if you're given a grading rubric to follow, be sure that you're using that. That can help out quite a bit. And check it at the end there against the instructions. Make sure that you followed all the instructions that you've been given. Here's an example of a pretty well written short response here. The thesis statement is highlighted in blue so that it stands out, and then everything else is in black. Let's take a look at this. Although many people believe that they are more efficient while multitasking, they're actually wasting time compared to those who focus on one activity to its completion. When people multitask, they feel like they are very busy, and they are. But they are not completing a lot of work, which is where the greatest problem comes into the situation. The human brain cannot focus on multiple activities at once, and because the attention is divided between these tasks, nothing is being done well and mistakes are made. Texting is a good example of multitasking gone wrong. While a driver is traveling down the highway at 75 miles an hour, listening to the radio, talking to the kids in the back seat, trying not to spill a precariously balanced latte, wondering what to make for dinner, a text comes in, and so he balances the phone on top of the steering wheel to respond. Today, drivers commonly know that texting while driving is a recipe for disaster, as texting while driving is so distracting that it has the equivalent effect on a driver as drinking 4 beers. Multitasking is distracting and does not produce greater results than focusing on one task at a time. A 2001 study at the University of Michigan first revealed that multitasking is less efficient than completing one task at a time, is dangerous, and actually drops the morale of workers who are encouraged to do several things at once. This study explains that although multitasking workers think that they are doing well, they are actually disorganized and inefficient. In comparative studies, those people who worked on a single task to its completion always worked faster and more thoroughly than their multitasking colleagues. As anyone will agree, the evidence is clear that focusing on one job at a time gets the job done. So there's an example for you to look at, give you some ideas on what you can take a look at in terms of your own short answers. Where are short answers used? You're going to see them in responses to online articles, in letters to the editor, standardized tests, and emails and professional memos. Questions that students sometimes have about short answers. What do you do when asked to write a response, an answer, an analysis, or an evaluation? All of these are some of the other terms that can be used for short answer. For any of these, you want to again look at the short answer, formal writing, 1 to 3 paragraph thorough response to the prompt. And then why is the thesis statement important? Thesis statement, just like in an essay, is the backbone to your writing. It is the backbone to your short answer, so you want to make sure that that's always included. It gives you your reason for why you're writing, which is to prove the thesis statement is correct. So what are students expected to do overall? Students are expected to create very strong short answers with paragraphs that are organized, that attempt to prove the thesis statement, using formal language, and using direct references to the text or the topic. There should be no errors in the writing when the assignment is turned in. At this point, information that you should have: what are short answers? What goes into a short answer? How should a short answer be organized? How should a short answer be edited? And what does a short answer look like? Hopefully this information has been helpful to you in your own writing. Good luck!